Hi guys, welcome back to the channel for my episode review of Season 11, Episode 4, The Belly of the Beast. So, as usual, in this episode review, we'll be first taking a brief analysis of the episode, and then I'll be sharing my thoughts, pros, cons, and then some more organized final thoughts, and then coming up with a final rating out of 10. The episode resumes where Episode 3 left off, with the ninja still stranded on the rock. Jay carves a little tombstone to make sure that other people know that the ninja were here. And then it becomes nighttime, and the ninja realize that they have to go into the Scarab Beetle in order to retrieve the parts so the land bounty can operate again. They play rock, paper, scissors to decide who would go in, and Zane wins. That's right, win. These guys actually want to go inside the Scarab Beetle, and Zane reassures them that it'll be okay because he is a ninja and he's the best choice. So they lure the Scarab Beetle, and it swallows Zane. Right away, Zane has another vision. He sees the Fire Fang. He sees Asphira attacking him in the Samurai X Cave. He also sees himself in an ice realm, and he also sees the Frost Dragon and the Ice Emperor's castle too. Then Zane wakes up in the Scarab Beetle's stomach. Meanwhile, on the surface, the ninja lure the Scarab Beetle again and begin fighting it, and eventually they manage to purge Zane and a few other materials out of the Scarab Beetle. And actually, it's important to note that the Teapot of Tyran actually does appear in this episode. If you take a look at this shot, you can very clearly see it. It appears first inside the Scarab Beetle, but after the ninja are able to purge the insides of the Scarab Beetle out, including Zane and the parts, you can see this shot where it looks very clear. You can very clearly see the pirate symbol on the Teapot of Tyran here. And anyways, after that, the ninja are able to repair the land bounty, and they are able to successfully escape. Once again, we will start off with some of the pros and some of the good things of this episode. I actually did like Jay in this episode. It did feel like classic Jay, the one who's always spazzing out about everything and constantly worried. So I did feel like this version of Jay that we saw in this episode was pretty fun. I also liked Zane's vision again. I really did enjoy his vision in the first episode too, and this vision I also enjoyed as well. Zane in this episode was also another cool thing. This episode kind of was his episode in a way, as he was the one to go down into the beetle, so I liked his adventures. That was cool. The fight scenes as well were pretty cool as well, although the fight scenes in this episode were also pretty minimal, so it was just that part at the end. Also, I like the idea of the rock, paper, scissors. It was a nice throwback to episode 20, when they would handle things like men by playing rock, paper, scissors to decide who had to go out there and fight the baddie. So I thought that was a nice reference back to some of the smaller touches in this episode were really cool too, such as when Zane knocks that thing over inside the Scarab Beetle and it sinks into the acid and it comes back up as a skull. And most importantly, the Teapot of Tyran. I thought those were really, really nice touches, especially again the Teapot of Tyran. I thought that was a great idea and a very, very nice but subtle touch that did make the episode really a lot better in my opinion. These small touches definitely do, when added up, make the episode better. So some of the humor in this episode definitely did feel a bit forced or a bit unnatural, such as Jay carving the tombstone. It did not really feel all that natural, and it was kind of funny but not too funny. Also, I think it was Jay or one of the other ninja when Zane exits the Scarab Beetle. One of the ninja, I think again it was Jay, gets splattered with material from inside the Scarab Beetle. That also did feel a little bit forced to me. And on top of that, I noticed that this episode uses a lot of haunted soundtracks from Season 9. Don't get me wrong, these soundtracks are amazing, but I don't necessarily think they all really fit this episode. I mean, seeing as this episode kind of is filler and doesn't really do much with the plot, I don't think that these soundtracks from Haunted really have all that much to do with this episode, but that's just a minor nitpick there. This episode, again, did use a lot of Haunted soundtracks too, but that's pretty much all I have to say for this. So some of the final thoughts on this episode. The plot was definitely a lot more laid back, a lot more casual than that of episode 3, which definitely isn't a bad thing. So I thought the plot for this episode was really cool. As I mentioned before, I liked the idea of rock, paper, scissors, and I thought the minor focus on Zane was also cool. Characters, and I've already mentioned characters, but I think Jay and Zane were definitely the highlights of this episode too. Zane was pretty cool, although there wasn't too much development for him. But I thought some of the stuff he did in this episode was cool, and his role in the episode as well. And Jay, just classic Jay, humorous Jay. I thought that was mostly funny, although sometimes it did, again, feel forced. Action in this episode, of course, as I already said, definitely less action than in episode 3, but still definitely a good amount too. I did like the fight scene and some of the action scenes too. And then emotion, I don't even know if I should continue to bring this up. But, I mean, I guess one thing that kind of stood out that is kind of related to emotion is before Zane goes to the Scarab Beetle and it's still nighttime when Jay is hugging Zane. Thought that was again a nice touch, kind of funny. So all in all, I think this episode was definitely better than episode 3, and I would probably have to give this episode an 8 out of 10. It was definitely better. Of course, at times it still did feel rushed. I mean, it's the best you can really do with a 11-minute episode, but I do think that the plot of this episode was also kind of cool, and we got more character focus than some of the past episodes have given us too. Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, share with anyone ever you know, and let me know what you thought of Season 11, Episode 4, The Belly of the Beast. Once again, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.